Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Navigating Your Life show. I'm your host, Nat Williams. Tonight, we'll examine how prepared students really are for the pursuit of higher education, and what advice college graduates can give them, and what college administrators are currently doing to make their educational experience more successful. And to highlight some statistics, the immediate college enrollment rate, and that's the rate of students who enroll right after high school, since 2002 has fluctuated between 64 and 69%. The 4-year price tag of $80,000 has been the cost for students living away from home, and $53,000 for students living at home. According to ACT surveys, less than 30% of 2-year students will complete their degree, and approximately 40% of individuals pursuing a bachelor's degree will complete that in 5 years or less, while 57% of students going to a private college get their degree in that same time frame. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk with students on their outlook on education. I asked a college freshman and a junior at DeSales University similar questions to see how their perspectives changed throughout the course of their education. Here's what happened. Right. Thank you so much, Alyssa and Chris, for joining us. We're going to have a conversation about your educational years. So first we'll start with Alyssa. When you started thinking about going to college, would you say that your high school years prepared you for that experience or not?
I would say they did prepare me. My senior year, everyone usually takes like the classes that would be most fun, but my whole high school career prepared me to, I went to SAT tutors, I went to SAT classes for my SATs, so I felt like I was well prepared.
Wow. And so Chris, we have you as well, and you're a junior.
I am.
And next year you'll be a senior and off and running. So what are you studying at DeSales?
I am actually a double major in musical theater and communications.
Wow. And I forgot to ask you, Alyssa, what are you studying at?
Communications.
As well. Okay. And so how is your current college experience over the last 3 years compared to what you expected when you came in from high school?
Well, when I was in high school, I was that kid that was involved with every club and just, with all the shows and everything. It was just, I was always doing something, and it really hasn't changed much.
When you thought about college as a senior in high school, what were your thoughts about college? And now that you're in, is there a difference between what you thought and what actually you're experiencing?
There's definitely a difference, because I thought it was going to be like 20-page papers every single day, because that's just, I always had that as college.
That's all the stories you hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of papers, but they're really not 20 pages, and they're not every day.
And so what has been the greatest challenge that you've experienced so far in your freshman year?
Probably trying to focus on figuring out social life to work life, because you have all your new friends there, and all you want to do is hang out, and you have to do a paper, but you'd rather, go shopping or hang out with your new friends. So it's really hard to balance that, but after like a semester you get used to it and accustomed, and you learn how to do that.
As you've considered the education as a pathway, is there anything you want to share with another young person, with a parent, anyone in between, of just some insights that you want to share? We'll start with you, Alyssa.
Don't slack off your senior year. Definitely not. Fill out as many scholarships as possible.
Okay.
And as much as senior year seems like fun, just get your work done and fill out scholarships, help out your parents so they don't have to pay the whole ride.
Okay. Very good. Don't piss them off.
Yes.
It's not the year to do it. And Chris, please.
Work hard no matter what grade you're in, and find a school where you're really going to fit in, because you want to find, for me it was all about finding a place where you're a person and not a number, and you really just want to be able to call that place home for the 4 years or however many years you're going to spend there.
So thank you, Alyssa and Chris, for joining. We really appreciate your insights. I'm sure people will take a lot away from what you had to say.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
again, Chris.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Alyssa. Wow, we really appreciate their sharing their story. We'll be right back to talk with an admissions representative and a current student from DeSales University. Please stay with us.
Are you ready to experience personal success in all 8 domains of life? Then join Dr. Nat Williams for the Absolutes of Success Weekend Transformation Program at Tucson, Arizona, and achieve your greatest potential. Registration includes a 2-night stay with meals at the beautiful Westward Look Resort. Register today, only $6.99, or register with a friend and pay only $9.99 with shared room. Call 1-800-810-3683 or visit absolutesofsuccess.com.
Caribby, 16, dreams of having his own business, perhaps a chain of stores someday. Currently, he has what he calls a little company, which includes shoveling snow, raking leaves, and other seasonal endeavors. Caribby enjoys music and also contemplating a career as a music producer. Caribby is easy to engage in conversation. Enrolled in the 10th grade, he gets along well with his teachers and classmates. He strives to please and impress others. In view of his plans for the future, it's no surprise that his favorite classes are math and business. For further adoption information, please access the National Adoption Center's website at www.adopt.org. And for further information on Caribby, please contact Crystal Allen at callen@adopt.org.
At Bridge to Creative Learning and Child Care Center, your child will learn and play the creative way in a safe and secure environment. We offer a fun and caring educational-based atmosphere and allow parents to monitor their child's activities. We are a state-licensed child care center offering academic preparation, after-school programs, creative learning, summer activities, and much more. Call us at 610-351-7400. Prepare your child for a brighter future.
Well, welcome back to the Navigating Your Life show. I'd like to welcome to the studio our two guests. We have Joanne Hawes, who's the Assistant Dean of the Access Program, as well as Kathy Betts, a senior who is going to graduate this year, Access student at DeSales University. So thank you so much for being here, ladies.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So let's start first, Joanne, with talking with our viewers about what is the Access Program at DeSales University.
The Access Program was founded in 1977. The university, at that time it was Allentown College, looked around the valley and saw that there was a need in the area of adult education. And they put together a model where, with accelerated education, where there would be 6 8-week sessions a year. There would be 2 nights per week in the classroom.
So let's just stop there for a second, Joanne. When you say 6 8-week sessions, what would it normally be?
There would probably be 2 16-week sessions,
Okay.
the traditional format
Okay.
of education.
Good. So this is a little bit of a different model just based on the time span. Please,
Correct.
I'm sorry, please
Correct.
continue.
And they picked a number of programs to get started, and it's been flourishing since.
Right. And you mentioned the amount of times they go to the class a week. How many times is that in that 8-week program?
That actually has changed. That's one thing that we are very proud about. Our program has evolved over time. We haven't stayed with that model that we began with. We're now, again, still 8-week sessions, but we meet 1 night a week for 3 hours, and then the other online component that accompanies each course.
Right. So a person can really modify their schedule to allow for this coursework because it's not so much classroom time. Am I correct, Joanne?
That's correct.
Okay. So what else makes the Access Program a special kind of program?
And we do have online courses now, also online programs.
So you could, so you could have a class where you go to the class and have some online work, or you could just have an online class.
Correct, totally online. And we offer a number of majors that way.
Okay.
I think another thing that really helps the adult student is the experience that we have as administrators and as advisors that we bring to the table.
You had shared earlier that you're a graduate of this program as well. Now you're a big shot there, but you worked up through the ranks. So why don't you share with our listeners a little bit about that experience, if you don't mind?
I started at Allentown College in 1987 as an evening secretary in the Access Program, and left the university for a while and came back 3 years later and was a secretary in the MBA program and came back over to Access, and then decided that I really needed to look at my own education and went back in 1996 through the evening program and earned a bachelor's in marriage and family studies, and then went right on to get my master's in education.
Wow. And I think that what you've done with your life is so impressive in the sense that I believe very strongly we can't do for others what we haven't done for ourselves. So that you've done the program for yourself, I think it really makes you a real champion for what the program can do for others. So I think that that's really wonderful, and I hope your students appreciate what they really have in having a person who's gone through the program and a leadership position. So that's wonderful.
And I'm not the only one. Actually, our dean has gone through the program herself.
Wow.
And
So they'd have to wake up pretty early to come up with some excuses about the program because you guys know it inside and out.
we do,
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
And we have a good appreciation for the students. I think that we value them because of that.
And are most of your students of what age category? Because of this kind of accelerated program, who is it really trying to target?
It has changed over time. It used to be we could say we have a student who's 30-some years old as the average student, and that's really, it's very difficult now because we have students who are maybe single moms just out of high school, and then we have people who are retired. So it really runs the gamut.
Wow. And we have one of those people in between that spectrum you just mentioned, not high school but not retirement either, that's joined us here. So please, Kathy, tell us about what your experience in the program has been and what has it done for you in your career path.
I always wanted to attend college, always, and decided after a serious illness that I better get up and get started on my life because you never know what the next day will be. And going back to school was one of those things. So I audited a class. I called the Sales Access Office in 2003, January of 2003, and talked to Joanne and talked about what I wanted to do, where I would like to go, what I would like to be. And she suggested auditing a class, so I audited an information technology class.
And when you say audit, could you just explain, some of our viewers may not be familiar with that term.
That's where you go in and you sit down, and I sat in the back and I kind of just listened, paid attention.
Do you have to pay for that?
No.
Oh, that's the good part of auditing.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually it is. Wow. So I did that, and the instructor was very receptive to having someone see about the program, and he suggested, well, why don't you stay? And so I did, and then I picked my next set of classes and the next set, and I was taking 2 at that time, but I've recently gone to just one per session, one 8-week session, and I'm going to graduate in May.
Wonderful. Wow.
So I'm very excited.
Good. And what is your degree going to be in?
It'll be in a Bachelor of Science in Management of Information Technology. And that is my background. But it was the combination of the technical skill and then the learning and the book part of it that goes with it. But I think the most important thing that the program and DeSales gave to me is the confidence. I have the confidence to stand in front of a group and to speak and to give my opinion that I never would have had before.
So really the academic was important that they offered, but it was the environment that was embracing you as a person,
Yes.
accepted what you wanted to do, and agreed to support your dream.
And yeah, I agree with that. And I think to look at all the different classes and different subjects and different matter that came before me, it opens your eyes to all sorts of different environments.
Before we start wrapping up, ladies, I want to make sure that we have a chance for our viewers to hear any closing thoughts you have. So, Joanne, do you want to share any thoughts with our viewers?
Education is an empowering event, a life-changing event, and I would encourage adults to consider.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, Joanne. And Kathy?
I believe it truly changes people's lives. It changed mine. And a lot of people ask me, well, what did you learn? And I say I didn't learn one specific thing. I learned so many. It really changed me.
Wonderful. That's terrific. And you were given a homework assignment before showing up for this show, which was to read a book that I wrote called The Navigator of Life, and to share with us, good, bad, or indifferent, your thoughts about that. So Kathy, please share your thoughts.
I agreed with all of what you had to say. It is true that if you live those tenets of what are listed in the book, try to live your life to the fullest. Try not to forget where you came from. Try to make the most of every day. Try to help those in your society, maybe in your neighborhood, and live your life one day at a time to the fullest. I think that you can live a full life that way.
Ladies, thank you so much for being part of our show today. Joanne, it was a great pleasure meeting you, and same thing, Kathy. And one of the things that we want to do is to support the efforts of students that are going to school, and so we were able to secure a Barnes & Noble card for you, Kathy, and we've done that for all of the other 2 students that were part of our B footage earlier. So we want to wish you the very best in your pursuits, and please continue the good work that you're doing already. We have to stop now for a brief commercial break. We'll be right back after this break with 2 guests, Dr. Craig Peisel and Derek Witzel, also of DeSales University, and he is an admission representative. So stay with us.
Ready for some fun? FunWorks assists individuals with and without disabilities to participate in community activities. These activities are provided in small settings for 1 to 8 individuals with at least 1 to 2 direct support professionals. We visit places like Dollywood, Willow Valley Inn, Phillies Games, Iron Pigs Games, the Lehigh Valley Zoo, and more. Let us know your dream trip. Our staff is dedicated to ensuring your dream activities come true. For more information, call 888-966-9466 or visit funworksinc.org.
Enrich your life at Sacred Heart Villa, situated atop Mount St. Michael on 40-plus scenic acres. Our caring staff includes missionary sisters and on-site licensed nurses 24/7. We offer medical reminders as well as dispensing medication and transportation to medical appointments. With excellent food, fun events, a spacious hall, safe rooms, and much more, your life will be enriched. Call 610-929-5751 or go to sacredheartvilla-readingpa.org.
Our next guests in the studio are Craig Pizzo, a licensed psychologist and consultant with over 30 years professional experience, as well as Derek Witzel, who has been an employee of DeSales University for the last 8 years and the director of admissions there for the last 2. So welcome, Derek and Craig.
How you doing?
Very good. So today we're talking about education and its pathway as a way of a vehicle of improving your situation. And Derek, I want to start with you as the director of admissions. Are you finding that the students are prepared for what they're signing up for?
Absolutely. I think kids are prepared more now than they've ever been for college. I think there's a number of reasons why. I think number one, students are prepared academically because they're taking AP, honors, or college prep curriculum, so that prepares them academically. I've also found through the application process of the students that they're definitely prepared because they have extracurricular activities. Students are interacting with other students, they're getting out there, they're doing different things, so they're prepared socially and academically.
Wow.
And I think the last reason that they're prepared would be because they have a goal. Students are driven to succeed, so mentally they've prepared. They want to do this is how they get there, and they know college is the vehicle to get them there, and that really is the driver there. Wow. So I think they're prepared mentally.
I must say, as a parent of a college student, I would be very excited if I was sitting in my living room listening to hear you as a director of admissions be enthusiastic about who's coming in.
Yeah, and then sometimes I have to actually rear back our students. They're overzealous, they're ready to go, and we have to say, you are prepared, you can do this. Wow. So, yeah.
Wow, Derek, I'm ready to sign up again. I have 4 college degrees, so I'm ready to. You sold me, buddy. Wow. But do you have any concerns as students are enrolling in helping them to be successful? And I know you have those students that are coming in that are coming right out of high school, and you also have a program that we just profiled earlier, the Access program. Mm-hmm. Do you have different concerns based on the different age groups or the backgrounds that they have of the students that are coming in?
I don't think the only thing that I have concerns with students coming in is really time management. That's something that I get a lot. Every student and parent that comes in, pretty much a majority of them ask me about time management. How am I going to time manage? Sure. Because from grade school all the way through high school, everything's been structured. They live a certain way, they get accustomed to that, and then college is more independent. Not everything's planned out for you. So they're really concerned about the time management aspect of how they're going to work everything because they're involved. And
then when you have that person who's working already and trying to fit in higher education, time management is also an issue.
That's another issue.
What do you tell them?
Well, I don't deal with I only deal with undergraduate students. So really, the working students. I think Joanne probably told you a lot about that. But it's all about time management and how you do it, and the work you put into it. You'll get out of it.
Good. And I think, Craig, that's a good tie-in to your work as a psychologist. I think that so often education is part of a person's dreams for their future, and I think a lot of times if you can believe that it can happen, and that you can conquer time and you can manage it better, that's a big part of that journey. But talk to us. I know that dreams and really getting out of your own way and being resilient is a lot of the work that you do. Why don't you talk with us as it relates to education and pursuing that?
Yeah, in sharp contrast with Derek, I get called in for the population that tends not to be so ready. And as you're describing, Nat, the obstacles are usually self-imposed. So people think they're not ready, or they're not deserving, or they're not smart enough, or that something that becomes a barrier to otherwise being successful. And the work I do or I'm involved in as part of a team is in helping them bridge that gap, grow and know themselves more realistically. So, because they tend to get in their own way by believing things that they can't do unrealistically, or not believing in themselves enough
So it's those
to be real.
So it's
It's
those
the
extremes.
or as I like to say, being self-deceived, believing lies about yourself, that you're more than yourself or less than yourself, tends to block success. So it's about being realistic and honest, and that's easier said than done, as I'm sure we all know.
And what are some of the things that help a person being realistic and honest? And one of the things that I believe very firmly is in fellowship, and that you get around other people who can afford to tell you what the real deal is. But what is the advice that you give people to help them reach that balance?
The two things that we tend to do in programs like college success and transition programming is to create a learning community, a small cohort, if you will, where they get feedback from their peers. And it's either to tell them the real deal about, hey, you're not all that, or hey, you're more than that. Either way, it's helpful feedback to understand the reality of what they can do and not do. The other thing that we bring in is more mentoring or coaching, and so that people get the benefit of more of a one-to-one relationship to discover more about themselves, to try things out, and do it in an environment where it's safe enough to hear sometimes the brutal truth about themselves.
And as a director of admissions, I'm sure there's a first-year experience, because a lot of times kids sometimes don't get past that first or second semester. So what do you do, especially for the young individuals that are coming to your university, to prepare them to stick with it and not give up?
Well, we definitely recognize that there's an emotional and a transitional change from high school to college. So we created a program in a first-year experience called Character U. It's a peer mentoring program where upper-class students oversee the freshman students. And it's centered around the Golden Councils of St. Francis de Sales, because de Sales is a Catholic institution. So each month, the freshman student are required to learn a little bit about one of those Golden Councils. This month is February, so it's love. So they're learning about love. And then they're also required to go to an activity each month.
Did that correlation have anything to do with Valentine's Day?
Yeah, just a little bit. So that program, and then they also, in general, the program is really for the freshman students to have someone on campus from when they get there, the moment in orientation, to have that upper class student that if they're homesick, they don't know where a building is, they need help with a class, that type of thing, that student is always there to help that freshman out in their transition to college.
Well, as always, we run out of time, but I want to make sure that you have a chance to share with our viewers any closing thoughts that you have about the pursuit of higher education, whether they're young or old or anywhere in between. Craig, why don't we start with you first?
Well, it goes back to the idea of dreaming, and the ability to dream and envision for yourself a better future, to reach your fuller potential. If it's a dream that's important to you and you believe it's possible, generates hope and is enlivening. It gives energy to go ahead and knock down those barriers and achieve those goals. So dream on, and do it as part of a process with a cohort, a mentor, family, friends that keep your dream alive and support your effort.
Wow, that's powerful. Please, Derek, any closing thoughts you have?
Every time I meet with students, I always try to build them up, try to encourage them. I think a lot of students that come through my door in undergraduate admissions sometimes come in a little shy and a lot and timid about college. And I try to tell them that if they want something bad enough and they're willing to reach their dreams, that anybody can do it. And I think that's something that I like to share with them.
Well, thank you so much, Derek, for being with us. It's very powerful. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that. We'll be right back after this short break, so please stay with us.
In these challenging times, your organization needs employees that maximize results. HumanWorks Training and Educational Services provides results-focused seminars for your staff. Topics include management and motivating employees, stress management, team building and leadership skills, and cultural diversity. Register today, just $89.99 or $75 for chamber members. Call 484-893-5057 or visit hwtes.com.
As we all know, the job market is difficult to penetrate. Please look at the short resume on the screen and contact the email address below if this person's skills is of interest to you or your company. Let's help him get back into the saddle. Well, I sincerely hope today's show has been enlightening, encouraging, and empowering for you. Education is a tremendous pathway for transforming life's outcomes. We need to provide adequate knowledge and resources to students in order for them to fully understand how critical an education is to changing their lives and their decision-making processes. It is never too late to further your education. It should be an ongoing process your entire life. Education gives us the knowledge of the world around us, and it develops in us a perspective of looking at life. From the words of the wise Greek philosopher Aristotle, education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity. I'm sincerely looking forward to having you join us next week when we'll be discussing substance abuse intervention strategies. A list of resources related to today's show is available on our website, which is navigatingyourlifeshow.com. On this site, there's a connection to our Facebook page, our Twitter page, as well as our blog. And while you're there, you can also email your comments on today's show and share ideas for future shows. Thank you so much for spending time with us this evening. I wish you the very best.